I got a referral from my brother's divorce lawyer, who we had a really good experience with, and she mentioned Kevin Seaver, who has the most experience with DCF and highly recommended. So I reached out to Kevin. So DCF calls. I had a phone call with them, and they mentioned that they're looking to open a case for neglect, and pretty much I was in shock because I do everything with the kids. It felt horrible. I of course was the opposite of neglectful. Anyone that knows me knows that I am tremendously good with kids. When DCF got involved in my life, I was, depressed. I was trying to do everything to improve my life, and here I'm being pushed back down, down into the gutter again. It's definitely a low point. Definitely didn't eat and sleep as much. There was a lot more anxiety, more panic attacks, because I was no longer in control of my destiny, and all allegations were false. So once I knew DCF was involved in my life, I got a referral from my brother's divorce attorney to Kevin Seaver, who she said had the most experience in DCF. I think 25 plus years at the time. Kevin was definitely very open, took calls whenever he called. So once I called Kevin, we met that week. He found time. He definitely saw the urgency of the case and thought I had already spoke too much. When I met with Kevin, even before we signed up, an actual agreement, he provided a lot of advice and recommendation. He was definitely open, honest, and even if I didn't sign with him, he gave me so much information to work off of. There are a lot of testimonials on his website. He had the experience with DCF. It was pretty apparent that there weren't many other firms that were specifically for DCF. And then Kevin, he went above and beyond the entire time. From his perspective, I think he was getting a sense of the house, the kids, hearing what's going on. Before and after DCF came, DCF would come and we would sit in silence because what was going on there? Nothing. So they would just ask questions. Are you doing? Yes. I'm meeting my therapist. Great. Does anyone else have any questions, any problems? Kevin continued and stayed through until DCF closed the case and well after. He's been providing guidance for me, throughout the DCF case. He's gone above and beyond what you could ever ask a lawyer. Consider him more a friend now than just a lawyer. Kevin's assistants were always there to make sure there were no one-on-one conversations, that there was always someone there with DCF and my child because, again, DCF like to take things out of context. And everything was about context with DCF. And, Kevin made me realize that, it made me feel that, hey, their case was wrong, that, I'm not a bad person. I'm a very good caregiver. I'm doing the right things that I'm supposed to be doing, that I'm actually above and beyond. So, DCF's trying to paint this picture, and in the reality, every time Kevin and his assistants would come, I would end up feeling happy. I would feel that, I was justified. My kids live in a nice town, go to a great school, and generally are very happy, yet DCF's involvement made them unhappy, made my wife unhappy, and caused me a lot of anxiety. So the end result, working with Kevin, of course, we got the case closed. I think they would have kept it open indefinitely, but Kevin's persistence in getting someone above the social worker to opine, I think got the case closed because letter after letter, they just ignored until finally, we went above and beyond. He went above and beyond, and they had no reason to keep the case open because I'd done everything I was supposed to, and no one saw a risk. So I definitely would recommend Kevin for any DCF-related case. He looks out for the children. He, stays and goes above and beyond to get a sense of the environment, the kids, who's providing the care, and I get a better feel of what is going on. He goes above and beyond, open, honest, and always providing some guidance, and he's definitely there to look out for you and the kids. So anytime I needed to talk with Kevin, he was there. For the home visits, he was always there early, stayed late. Emails, either Kevin or his assistants, were pretty much instant in response to emails, unless Kevin was in court. Provided me his personal cell phone number to call 24/7. So I've spoken with Attorney Seaver, I think, daytime, afternoon, evenings, weekends. There was no time that he isn't available if it's the right time for you to speak with it, for you to speak. We all have busy schedules, but he makes the time to accommodate your schedules because, he understands kids come first, and he works around your schedule with the kids. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm definitely very satisfied with Kevin. Give him a 10. He's just done everything you would want, and everything you would need and want, and he goes above and beyond that to meet his standards of what you should need and expect from. Prior to signing with Attorney Seaver, I had signed a release for my doctor to speak with DCF, which was a mistake. After hiring Kevin Seaver, he spoke with my provider. She provided a letter. We reneged that approval. Kevin Seaver gave me a plan to stick to, help control the narrative and the context. Because even my prescriber said when she spoke with DCF, they were asking questions that were so not relevant to the case. They were asking about things 10 years down the road, asking about mental health things that did not have anything to do with being a caregiver. And my doctor saw through it, and she said, what does this have to do? So my provider, when they did speak with DCF, said that I'm a great caregiver, that I'm doing everything. Once I had hired Attorney Seaver, he spoke with my provider, pretty much got the same story. We got letters from the providers and had those filed, and no longer let DCF speak with them. And that way we were able to control that narrative. My provider on record said that they had no questions about my being primary caregiver and being with the kids. DCF will take anything you say, any conversation they have, out of context to support their case. If I had spoke with a lawyer before, I would have been able to prevent some of what was shared, even though it wasn't a negative, even though my doctor said, there's no issues. They took her one statement and used it as justification to keep the case open. And initially, I didn't have much to hide. I was trying to improve my life, exercising, I was doing the things you're supposed to do. And DCF took my honesty, turned it against me. They used that against me, and in the end, they harmed the kids. They caused neglect to the children. At the onset, I should have contacted counsel. The state's not looking in your behalf. If I had met with Kevin Seaver at the beginning, a lot of it could have been prevented. It's just they have rules they have to follow. They're not in your interest. They're not even in the kids' interest. Kevin Seaver, has helped put things back into context. Realize that what you're doing is right and good, and is able to, make sure that things stay on record and that you don't talk too much. So after first meeting with Kevin, it's pretty apparent that he knew everyone at DCF all the way up the food chain. Given he works only with DCF, anytime he's in court, he's with DCF lawyers, DCF management. So he knew the organization very extensively. There was really no one else that was specific to just working DCF cases. And it was pretty apparent. I spoke with my divorce lawyer my brother had used, and she recommended Kevin Seaver. She, without question, said he's got the most experience. He's worked specifically with DCF, and there's no better option. Most other lawyers don't specialize on one specific thing, so while they may do family law, they'll do family law across a lot of different areas and not just involving DCF. So Kevin's experience with DCF is extensive, and there's really no other lawyer in the state that would have as much experience working with DCF. Working with Kevin, it was pretty apparent he knew, what to do, what not to do, the process. But he went above and beyond at a human level. We're all people. Kevin treated me as a person. I mean, he looked at, the context of the reality of my life and my relationships with my kids and what I was doing, and saw over the past 10 years, I've been a model parent, and DCF took that all out of context. Kevin was there to pretty much keep them where they need to be, and not let them control the narrative, not let them try to destroy me. Kevin was never judgmental. He looked at me as a person. DCF looked at me as part of the problem. So one of the words to describe Kevin would definitely be caring. He definitely cares for the people he works with goes above and beyond, so very caring, compassionate. And then, he works tirelessly and he'll go above and beyond his contract until the case is closed, because, my parents, my family, everyone questioned what I had done, and a lot of the blame was on me. After I hired Kevin, and I wasn't sleeping well, there was, a lot of paranoia, because those things didn't seem right and feel right, and I started to realize I just need to keep on fighting. Kevin made me, see through that and put the kids in focus. It was always very adamant about putting the kids first. Kevin taught me how to successfully fight DCF. He's a straight shooter.